Right. Good evening. Happy New Week. Welcome to Mixed Level Yoga. Let's actually begin lying on our backs, and we'll start to gently open up across the lower back by bending your knees apart, separating your feet wider than your hips distance, and letting your knees drop in together so that they touch. And then from here, you could let your palms turn up as you rest your arms slightly away from your sides, or you can set your left hand on the middle of your chest and the right hand on your lower belly to help feel grounded. And perhaps close your eyes, allow a moment to pause and make a conscious transition from whatever you were doing just before now. So you might know the movie called Groundhog Day. I don't think I actually watched it, but I remember seeing the commercial about this man who lives the same day of his life basically over and over again, waking up and making the same choices, and he feels stuck, or at least I would feel stuck. I didn't actually watch the movie. But it reminds me of samskaras. If you'll remember, a few months ago we talked about that yoga philosophy concept, and Deepak Chopra, a spiritual teacher, defines it as this: a samskara is a groove in the mind that makes thoughts flow in the same direction. In Buddhist psychology, they're described as imprints in the mind that have a life of their own. Your personal samskaras, built up from memories of the past, force you to react in the same limited way over and over again, robbing you of free choice. That is, choosing as if for the first time over and over again. You might find some scars in the form of social conditioning, cultures that you were brought up in, that you've been practicing whatever you've learned. Maybe they're beliefs, repeated thoughts, and that becomes a habit in your life. Or in relationships, choosing the same kind of partner to sort of relive a certain role, perhaps a parent-child role that you were a part of in the past. So they become a default mode within ourselves. It could be even emotional reactivity when you feel triggered by something that someone says, because it kind of takes you into a time warp of something that happened to you in the past that was hurtful. And so the instinct becomes perhaps rage or this anger that swells up. So you might have an idea of these samskaras. Most people, as Deepak Chopra says, build up an identity on the basis of samskara without even knowing that they chose to do this. What we repeat over and over again, how that becomes our subconscious belief of who we are. And in yoga, which is very much the study or the practice of self-study, right? In the 8 limbs of yoga, there's Svadhyaya. We're encouraged to really become aware of what we repeat and what we, especially our beliefs, that direct our choices from day to day, so that we can make conscious choices and free ourselves rather than be enslaved of our own patterns, our own habits and conditioning. Mindfulness teacher Pema Chodron says, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. So I invite you in this practice of feeling into our bodies and what patterns we might hold there from the way we move or don't move habitually in our day-to-day lives, to refine our ability of self-awareness or self-study, so that we can take that same practice of cultivating awareness off the mat and into our relationships, our lives, our interactions. So now as you lie here, notice the pattern of your breathing. Feel the pace of its rise and fall. Notice its depth or shallowness. And as we make these observations, can we allow them to be neutral, not a means of judging ourselves, good or bad, but simply to expand our awareness, even with loving kindness, with self-compassion. Let's start to deepen the breath. As you inhale, feel your belly gently rise. Allow your rib cage to softly expand. And let the exhale whisper audibly through your mouth, feeling it completely empty. You might feel your belly sink slightly, welcoming a deeper inhalation. And now as you consciously breathe more deeply, closing your lips, let's use the breath to also help warm the body up. Balancing your in-breath as slowly as your out-breath. You can create a gentle sound, a whisper, by gently constricting the back of your throat in what we call Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing. And then from here, start to slide your left leg forward onto the ground, drawing your right bent knee towards your chest. And if you have a strap, go ahead and take that strap and step the ball of your right foot either into the center of it or the loop of the strap if you have one. Extending your right leg up towards the sky. Hold the strap just in your left hand. Now, imagine as if you're using the strap to actually pull the top of your right thigh bone downward, deeper into your hip socket. Not trying to bring the right leg closer to your face, but keeping it upright. And as you take your right thumb to hook the outer crease of your right hip, softly press your right outer hip forward, just a gentle tilt away from the right side of your torso, towards the front edge of your mat. And as you continue to pull downward, that right thigh bone into the hip socket, sending right hip forward with that gentle push. Flex your left foot here, and keeping your left knee pointing at the sky, spiral your inner left thigh slightly towards the ground, as if you're about to pigeon toe your left foot, but just rotating at your hip. Let's take 3 more breaths in tractioning your lower spine. Now, as you stay holding the left hand, holding the strap, open your right arm wide, flat on the floor, ground your right shoulder, and sickle your right foot. So from the ankle, turn the sole of your right foot to face the left wall, and very slowly, just 1/3 of the way, cross your right leg over your body to the left, entering a spinal twist. Taking your time, going another third slowly as you breathe. And perhaps bringing a stretch into your neck by turning your head to gaze over at your right hand. Now only deepen your spinal twist to the degree that you could keep your right shoulder rooted onto the ground. Continue to draw your right outer hip forward. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. And as you breathe out, roll onto your back, bend your right knee to remove the strap, and sliding your right leg forward, hug your left knee into your chest. Step the ball of your left foot into the strap. Straighten the left leg upright to the degree that you can, and holding the strap with your right hand, pull downward so that you're plugging your left femur or thigh bone deeper into the hip socket. Now with your left thumb, hook the outer crease of your left hip and press it forward away from your torso, towards the front edge of your mat. Notice that your 2 shoulders are equally grounded as you lengthen your neck. As you're flexing your right foot, point your right knee towards the sky and spiral your inner right thigh slightly towards the ground. All of this is to help create a little more space in your sacrum. Now, when we talk about the chakras, energy centers, the sacral energy center is responsible for our ability to flow with change, to adapt to life circumstances, and to even make conscious choices to step out of the wheel of habit when necessary. So let's start to add a spinal twist. Open your left arm wide, ground your left shoulder, and begin to cross your left leg over to your right side, 1/3 of the way at a time. You might give your neck a stretch by looking over your left shoulder. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. Encouraging space and fluidity at your sacral center as well as your spine. Keeping your left shoulder down. Now rolling onto your back, lift your left leg up. Put the strap aside and bend your knees into your chest. You could rock side to side, massage your lower back a bit, or circle your legs, perhaps together and apart. And whether you rock forward or turn over to one side, make your way up to sit. Any way that's comfortable. You might even grab a prop, pillow, or block to sit on so that you can feel anchored down to your 2 sitting bones while you're lifting up to your spine. So let's move into a style of breathing, a pranayama practice for balancing left and right hemispheres of the brain, further relaxing the nervous system, and which helps to relieve headaches. So it's called Nori Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. Resting your left hand on your lap, you might bring your thumb and first finger to touch, could help to concentrate. And then your right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring finger. Now, as you close your lips, continue to breathe sustained and softly through your nose. And you might eventually close your eyes and steady your gaze towards the center of your forehead, just to help concentrate too. So let's begin, and as you feel the pattern of the breath work, continue on at your own pace when you feel ready. Exhale all this breath. Hold it out. With right thumb, cover right nostril. Inhale slowly through your left. Hold your breath in. Last 2 fingers cover left nostril. Exhale to your right gently. Hold it out. Then inhale through right. Hold it in. Cover right with thumb. Exhale through left. Hold it out. Inhale through left. Hold it in. Cover left with 2 fingers. Exhale right. Hold it out. Inhale right. Hold it in. Cover right. Exhale left. Take another couple rounds on your own. At your own pace, when you finish the exhale you're on, release both hands on your lap. Just take a moment to observe the effects of that practice. And perhaps you take a moment to clarify an intention for your yoga practice tonight as we continue to cultivate loving self-awareness. Let's ease back into Ujjayi Pranayama, where you close your lips and sustain your breath evenly through your nose, creating a gentle whisper. Softly open your eyes. And let's come down to all fours. If you have blocks, please place them outside the top of your mat on both sides. As you come down to hands and knees, set your wrists just under your shoulders with your index fingers pointing forward, parallel to each other, thumbs wide and flat. Set your knees a couple inches behind your hips, and let's begin a few rounds of cat-cow. As you breathe in, glide your spine forward, then coil your chest up, looking towards the sky. As you breathe out, contract your belly, looking down as you tuck the tailbone under. About 4 more rounds. Inhale, glide your chest forward, then broaden it as you roll your shoulders back. Cow pose. Exhale, contract your belly, bowing your head to round cat pose. On your own, a couple more cycles of breath. So you might also consider this movement a modified way of taking your vinyasas. When we enter plank and lower into cobra or upward dog, if you want to tone it down, you could always choose this movement instead. Now on your next exhale, with your palms flat, tuck your toes behind you and lift your hips high, drawing your sitting bones as far back as you can to feel the full length of your back. Downward facing dog. You might choose to take the first few breaths, shifting your body in any way that feels comfortable. Warming up the backs of your legs, perhaps by pedaling your feet in place. Softly shaking and nodding your head to relax your neck. Notice the sound rhythm of your breathing. Now bending your knees generously, press down with your hands as if you're trying to push them out away from your feet. And see if you can lift your sitting bones even higher as you completely drop your skull. Find one point to gaze at, just towards your feet. Then rotate the outer sides of your upper arms or your triceps towards the ground to broaden across your shoulders, lifting the shoulders back. Firm your belly towards your back, and then press the front creases of your hips further up and back, sinking your heels towards the ground. And it's okay if they don't touch the floor. Knees can be as bent as needed. Now let's hold still for 3 more breaths. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now inverting or going upside down in poses like this are also a great way to shift our perspective and step out of pattern. Mind, body, or breath. Now with your next exhalation, walk your feet forward to the top of your mat, standing in a forward fold. Feet apart, hips distance, parallel your second toes, and bend your knees a lot here as you tilt more weight forward towards the balls of your feet. So much that your spine can truly release. Then with your hands, catch hold of opposite elbows and perhaps explore swaying your spine gently like a pendulum. Letting your skull be heavy with the weight of your brain to bring freedom and release to your neck. Switching the cross of your arms, lift your shoulder bones up away from your neck.
If you have any tightness in the backside of your body, you could always bend your knees when you're coming into a forward fold or rising from it, firming your abdomen to help support your spine as well. So now bring your hands to your hips. Bend your elbows towards the sky. Keep at least a little bend in your knees. Draw your navel towards your spine. And as you lead with your chest, breathe in to slowly lift from your chest. Rise up to stand. With arms down by your sides, palms facing forward, stand tall, grounded in mountain pose. Let's start to flow to your breath. As you inhale, sweep your arms overhead, relax your shoulders and see your palms touch. As you exhale, hinge from your hips, bending your knees any amount needed to fold. Press your fingertips either on blocks, the ground of your legs, and lengthen your spine forward, parallel to the floor. Lower your fingertips outsides of your feet, perhaps on props if the floor feels too low. Step the ball of your left foot all the way back into a high lunge. Separating your feet as wide apart as your hips, parallel them. Make sure that your front knee is bent directly on top of the heel, but not in front of your heel. As you breathe in, let your pelvis sink lightly towards the earth. And as you breathe out, straighten your right leg by your right outer hip back while lengthening your spine forward as you bow. Let's continue that a few more rounds with a breath. Inhale, rebend your right knee just over your ankle in a high lunge. Exhale, scissor your right outer hip back, bowing with open chest, open throat. 2 more cycles. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Return to your lunge and set your hands flat on the ground, stepping into plank pose. Now you could have your knees on the floor directly under your hips this time to modify plank, or have your legs straight for full plank, whatever you feel ready for. Stack your shoulders right above your wrists, look on the ground ahead of your hands, and let's take 3 more breaths, lifting the navel towards your spine, broadening your chest forward, shoulders back. And if legs are straight, firming your heels back so your quadriceps are active. Now, modified vinyasa. Lower your knees first, glide forward, lower your chin, then slide your belly to the ground, lowering your pelvis and legs. Notice that your wrists are alongside your floating ribs as you hug your elbows close to your sides. Point your toes and stretch your tailbone actively towards your inner heels. While rooting your pelvis, root down to the tops of your feet, and inhale, coil your chest lightly off the ground into cobra pose. Press downward with hands and knees. Tuck your toes as you exhale, lift your hips high, draw your sitting bones back, downward facing dog. Take a full cycle of breath through your nose. Now, downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, round forward to plank, bending your left knee towards your nose to very softly land your left foot forward, just inside of your left hand. Hands on props or on the ground outside of your feet. Parallel your feet hips width apart in this high lunge, stacking your front knee just over your heel. As you inhale, let your pelvis sink a little closer to the ground. As you exhale, scissor your left outer hip back towards straightening the leg as you bow inside of it. 4 more cycles with your breath. Inhale into your lunge. Exhale, scissor and fold. Inhale, lunge. Can you feel the element of water, a sense of fluidity in your sacral area? Exhale, fold. Breathe in to lunge. Water, a symbol of adaptability, flow, and even cleanse. As you finish the last round, re-entering a lunge, look at the top of your mat and step your right foot hips distance from the left, forward fold. Root down through your feet. Inhale, circle your arms overhead to rise up to stand, palms touch. Exhale, join your hands at your hearts. Side two is going to be a little different. So inhale, raise your arms, interlace your fingers and flip your palms inside out. As you exhale, ground your left foot heavier and begin to side bend to your right, pressing the heels of your palms towards your right wall. As you inhale, firm your belly, rise up to center, switch the interlacing of thumb and index. Palms face up, exhale, side bend to your left, rooting your right foot even deeper. Engage your belly and inhale, rise up again to center. Open your arms wide and exhale, forward folds. Press the ground, your legs or your props. Inhale, lift your chest, lengthen halfway up. Lower your hands outside of your feet and step your right, which foot are we on? Your right knee back. So as you lower your right knee, untuck your right toes, root down to your left foot firmly and press your hands onto your left thigh to lift your torso upright. So legs are hips distance. Now bring this idea of lifting your frontal hip bones slightly towards your bottom front ribs, allowing your tailbone to anchor towards the ground. While lifting your back ribs away from your tailbone, notice the lengthening of your lower spine, the firming of your abdomen. Then if your balance feels pretty stable, add raising your arms up, drawing your shoulders down. And as you rebound your weight off the earth through both feet, feel the rising up of energy through your crown and your fingertips. Perhaps bringing your palms to touch, another 3 breaths. Anjaneyasana. Now from here, with arms overhead, give your legs the feeling as if you're scissoring them. Don't actually visually move them, but feel that sense of stability through those counteractions. And with your left hand, take hold of your right wrist. Lift up through the center of your spine, but keep relaxing your shoulders down. Then keep your left foot still and begin to side bend to your left, little by little for a few breaths. Lifting your spine from your pelvis as you firm down through both feet. And then breathing out as you side bend further. Inhale, lift your spine, bring your left thumb to the outer crease of your left hip, like we did in the beginning. Stretch your spine forward, tracing the midline of your mat. Entering a twist, you can even lower your right hand on the floor or a block directly under your right shoulder and raise your left arm. Or to go further, you could take your right elbow and hook it outside of your left thigh. Whether you open both arms wide or join your hands in prayer, turning the center of your chest to meet your thumbs. Now, either way, notice your breathing. With the inhales, encourage your spine to lengthen forward, tracing the center line of your mat. And with your exhales, feel stability through your legs remaining still. Continue to rotate your rib cage at your waistline. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now take a look at your left foot and frame it with your 2 hands, stepping into your version of plank pose. Let's pause there for just an inhalation, establishing length in your spine, firm belly. Now either lower knees, chin, modify vinyasa, or this time glide forward, bend your elbows to hug your side ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana, and either lower all the way again, or flip your toes to enter upward facing dog. Breathing in, then exhale, draw your sitting bones up and back, downward facing dog. Let's take 1 deep breath. On your next inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, round forward slowly, bending the knee towards your nose, to gently set your right foot just inside of your right hand. Lower your back knee and untuck the toes. With your legs hips width apart, press your hands on top of your right thigh and lift your spine upright. Now bring that energy of scissoring your legs towards each other to find a slight lift of your pelvic floor as you draw your tailbone down and lift your back ribs slightly. Perhaps you raise your arms and relaxing the shoulders, gaze up. Anjaneyasana for a few more breaths, maybe even sealing the palms. Now with arms overhead, take hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Keep the internal scissoring action of your legs as you lift the sides of both waists, or the sides of your waist, and then side bend to your right. So make sure that your right foot is flat on the floor, your right knee continues to face forward, really solid, so that you maintain a sense of center. Last couple of breaths. Now inhale, lift your spine upright, bring your right thumb to hook the outer crease of your right hip down. Exhale, lengthen your spine to trace the center line of your mat, and then twist, lowering your left hand on the floor or a block just under your left shoulder, raising the right arm, or hooking your left elbow outside of your right thigh, either arms wide open or hands together in prayer. So make sure that your right knee is directly on top of your right heel here. And not only are you using leverage, if so, pressing the arm against your leg to twist, but mostly you're using your obliques, the side muscle of your torso, engaging the belly in, you rotate your rib cage. Let's take one more deep breath here. Then look down at your right foot and lower your hands at the top of your mat. Step forward to bow. Round to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms to rise up. Palms touch. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart. Let's enter one sun salutation A. Inhale, sweep the space around you. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, press with your fingertips to lengthen forward. Either step to plank or lightly float into chaturanga to lower. Inhale, your choice of cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 to 5. As you allow your body to feel energy, not only through your breathing in and out, but as you root down through fingers spread, imagine as though you could root past the surface of the ground. Your hips lifting, elbow lengthening back, heels reaching towards the earth. And then from here, bring your feet together to touch in downward facing. Then inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your right knee and turn open at your right hip. Breathing in, tack your left outer hip further back. Now, as you exhale, slowly step your right foot directly between your hands. Spin your left heel to the ground, but turn the toes slightly to face forward. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Then cartwheel your arms to rise up for your two. So as you open your arms wide, that your ankles right. You're turning out your right leg. Align the center toe down the center line of your mat. Right outer hip wrapping slightly under your body. Feel the contrast of pressing top of your left thigh bone back towards the right wide width of your mat. As you feel the bowl shape of your pelvis orient upright, containing your belly, you're full length
your feet. Eyes closed. 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2.
Your microphone is popping in and out.
Thank you for letting me know. I'll change the channel. Testing, testing. Can I get a thumbs up? Okay. And then from Warrior 2, let's straighten the right leg to prepare for triangle. So as you straighten your right leg, you may want to shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches for stability. And you may want to have a block on the right side of your right calf. And as you open the arms again with legs straight, root firmly down through both feet and engage the front muscles of your thighs without locking your knees. Slide your pelvis sideways towards the rear edge of your mat while reaching your right hand horizontally forward past your right knee before lowering it onto your right leg or just to the right of your leg, perhaps on a block, where your arm and leg could firm against each other. Now notice that your right outer hip is continuing to rotate slightly under your body as you raise your left arm towards the sky. Turn your chest slightly to face the sky and perhaps look up if it feels okay on your neck. Lengthening the crown of your head towards your front wall. Lengthen your tailbone towards your inner left heel. Let's take about 4 more breaths here in Utthita Trikonasana. All right, you could come back to Warrior 2 at any point, but let's play with some balance in half moon pose. You might like to bring your left hand to your left hip to help you transition. Now steady your gaze on the ground in front of your right foot. Bend your right knee and walk your right fingertips onto the floor or your block, 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe to the right outer corner. Drag your left foot forward, flexing your left foot, lift the heel to the height of your hip. Now this is the same shape as you created in triangle, except you're on one leg. So turn your chest completely to face your left wall. Notice how your 2 shoulders naturally stack above your right wrist. And your right knee and middle toe are still tracing the midline of your mat. Continue to wrap your right outer hip under your body and lengthen the right side of your torso beneath you. You might add raising your left arm, maybe looking up, which becomes more challenging if you want that. Take a few more breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Stay as long as you like, but when you're ready to come out of it, bend your right knee and try to slow motion land the left foot towards the rear of your mat, re-entering Warrior 2. Nice. And then from Warrior 2, keep your right knee bent, flip your right palm to face up, lift the sides of your torso, then lean laterally towards your rear wall, left hand gently lands on left leg, in peaceful or exalted warrior. Just a couple of breaths. Take a deep inhalation. Ride your exhale down through plank and either enter a vinyasa or cat-cow or child's pose, or directly to downward facing dog. As you cultivate awareness of your body's moment-to-moment needs, notice when it's necessary to take a pause or to keep going. When you're even downward facing, bring your feet together to touch. Then inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at the hip. Inhaling, tack your right hip further back. Exhale, softly step your left foot directly between your hands. Spin your right heel down, turn the toes slightly to face forward,
And cartwheel your arms to rise up. Warrior two. So staying here for a few more breaths. Feel your left outer hip wrap underneath your body as you firm the top of your right thigh bone back towards the left wide width of your mat. Your left knee aligns with your left middle toe, tracing the midline of your mat. And then gaze is steady on one spot to help polish the focus of your mind. Can you hear the sound of your breath? And now from warrior two, let's straighten the left leg to prepare for triangle pose. You might want to shorten your stance 2 to 3 inches. Engage the front muscle of your thighs without locking your knees. Then slide your pelvis sideways towards the back edge of your mat, reaching your left hand forward past your left knee before lowering it onto your left leg, or just to the left outside of your leg, maybe on a block. Arm and leg pressing against each other. Now notice the weight of your left hand. See if you can lighten that weight by firming your belly and the sides of your torso, as well as your legs. And turning your chest slightly to face the sky. Soften your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Let's breathe here about 4 more cycles. Entering half moon pose, you might want to place your right hand on your right hip to help transition. Steady your gaze on the ground in front of your left foot and walk your left hand onto your block or the floor about 6 inches ahead of your left pinky toe out to the left side. Drag your right foot forward, flex the foot, and lift the heel to the height of your hip as you turn your chest completely to face your right wall. And consider raising your right arm. So find one point to focus your eyes on as you feel the balance you create in your breath. Can you feel the interplay of how your breathing affects how you're feeling here? Knowing the breath has patterns too, when we're angry, when we're fearful, when we're happy. We can use our knowledge of those patterns to redirect how we're feeling as well. So take your time. When you're ready to land, bend your left knee and softly step your right foot back to warrior two. So this time, let's keep this wide stance. Pivot both feet so that they face the wide width of your mat, parallel to each other. And we'll prepare for a wide-legged forward fold. Taking your hands behind you to open your chest. Either interlace your fingers or grab a strap you can hold between your hands. And as you spread your toes, chest up, look towards the sky and take a deep breath. Exhaling, hinge from your hips. You could bend your knees any amount if needed. Tilt your weight a little heavier onto the balls of your feet as you fold, dropping your skull. Now with your hands together, reach them forward away from your lower back while lifting your shoulders up away from your neck. If your head's not touching something, it might feel good to softly shake and nod it a few times, allowing the spine to decompress. Now lowering your two hands, opt for any variation of this inversion you'd like to come into. Walking the hands forward, you could raise one arm for a few breaths and add a spinal twist on each side. Or perhaps you're craving a headstand. Walking back, practice tripod. With your peace fingers and gently torso in for a deeper fold. Whatever it is, let's take about 5 more cycles of breath. Upside down. Begin to crawl your hands forward, chest halfway up. Pivot your feet to face the edge of your mat where your right foot becomes your front foot. So you're in a lunge. So facing your right foot, let's enter single pigeon, opening the hips further. So lower your left knee to the ground. Splay open your right thigh and slide your right heel towards your left outer hip. As you drop your right knee open and come to sit, tuck your left toes behind you, straightening your left leg. And with the help of your hands outside of your pelvis, lift your hips and scissor your right hip further back, your left hip further forward, until your two hips are equally facing the front edge of your mat. Now, if there's a gap between your right glute and the ground, you could put a prop there like a pillow or blanket to support balance. If you're able to parallel your right shin with the front edge of your mat, make sure to flex your right foot to stabilize your knee. From here, lift your chest, take a deep breath. And then start to bow forward, whether resting your head on a block or pillow, forearms on the, or adding another spinal twist. Thread the needle. So if it's available, thread the needle, crawl right fingertips towards the upper right corner of your mat, flip towards the sky. Thread your left arm under your right bent elbow with your left palm face up, and lower the left side of your head on the ground or on a prop, making sure your head is resting. So whatever version of this hip opener you're in, breaths. As you finish this exhalation, begin to press the ground with your two hands, lifting your toe, and either coming into all fours, hands and knees, or downward facing dog, in which you lift your right leg up towards the sky and perhaps shake it out or just add some movement at the hip to encourage blood flow there. Now entering side 2 of single pigeon, come back to downward dog or hands and knees, and then cross left calf in front of your pelvis to land on your mats. Straighten your right leg behind you as you sit and tuck your right toes. And with your hands alongside your hips, scissor your left hip back, your right hip forward. And if you need, put something underneath your left glute to keep the balance of your hips. Then untuck your right toes and lift your chest. Take a deep breath. Folding in. And if you're paralleling your left shin to the front edge of your mat, make sure to flex your left foot. Stabilize. Now, if you added the spinal twist on the first, let's keep the balance. Bend your left elbow towards the sky, left fingertips towards upper left corner of your mat. Then thread your right arm, palm face up, under your left bent elbow
and rest the right side down, using a prop if needed. So whatever version you're in, observe moment by moment anything that arises in body or mind. 5 more breaths. And when you finish your last exhale, you're going to make your way back to hands and knees again, or downward facing dog. Raising your left leg and perhaps giving it some movement. So if you have a yoga block, please grab that, or maybe a pillow. We're going to use the skinniest width of the block as we come to sit at the middle of your mat. Stepping your feet on the ground with your knees bent, hug the skinniest width of the block, about this size, right between your thighs. And separate your feet as wide apart as your thighs. Parallel your feet. Turn your palms up as you reach your arms forward and relax your shoulders back and down. Feel your belly hugging your back as you slowly lower all the way to the floor. So in the slow transition down, we're just awakening our team of core muscles, preparing for bridge pose, heart opening. So with your arms down by your sides, locate your feet by sliding them back towards your hands until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Just almost. With feet parallel, firm down through the 4 corners of each, around your shoulders, and tilt your chin slightly away from your chest to open your throat. Now with an inhale, lift your pelvis, stretching the fronts of your thighs forward as you hug the block. Keep breathing here for another 5 or so breaths before you choose to lower on your own. Walk your upper arms closer together beneath your upper back. Now keeping your arms straight, if your hands touch, you might interlace your fingers. Press the ground with your outer upper arms. Your heart space. Breaths. Now decide to come down. Let each vertebra kiss the earth one at a time as you breathe out. So let's put the block aside and separate your feet wider than hips distance. But this time, separate your knees just as wide apart as your feet. Open the arms so they're out of the way, then drop both knees to your right side, entering an open twist. Align your left knee to trace the center line of your mat. As we offer space into your left side of your hip and lower back, your psoas, if you're not feeling much yet, try crossing your right ankle on top of your left thigh, just above your left knee. So the natural weight of your leg offers more lengthening to the front of your left hip and thigh. If you want even a little more, you could clasp opposite elbows with your hands overhead. Let's take just 3 more very long exhalations through the mouth. At the end of this breath, unwind, step your feet apart again about mat width, knees apart too. Relax your arms, and then drop your knees slowly to your left side, tracing your right knee down the center of your mat. Notice if this side feels different, observing any patterns you hold in your body, on your right hip, lower back.
If you need to feel more sensation, you could cross your left ankle just above your right knee, and perhaps switch the cross of your elbows overhead as you clasp them. This time, focus on breathing into your stomach. Feel it gently expand as you inhale. And again, out to your lips, sustaining your exhalations longer. Using belly breaths to more deeply calm your nervous system while awakening your digestive system. The ability to digest not only food, but whatever some circumstances arise. Coming back to center, draw your knees together into your chest or come into happy baby. Adding one last easy, gentle posture before we arrive in Shavasana. Place your body in a comfortable position. Feel free to use your props like pillows under the backs of your knees or under your rib cage to lift the chest, whatever allows your body to let go of doing and feel supported to rest. And once there, with eyes closed, let go of controlling your breathing. Feel the guidance within you, the support around you. As you rest and trust. Continue to let your body rest in stillness. So in the past week, we've started adding an additional 5 minutes, which will begin soon, for anybody who wants to stay either longer in Shavasana or to join us for a community silent sitting meditation. If you'd like to enter the meditation sitting down, then please start to move your body, ease into a simple stretch, maybe gently turning your head, releasing your neck. And you might even keep your eyes closed as you slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. And while this meditation is not guided, you may choose an anchor for your focus, like your breathing. It's natural in and out. And as you steady your awareness on that, you can be open to observing your own thoughts, observing their patterns. So I'm going to set the timer now for 5 minutes.
breath to deepen and your awareness of your physical environment come back. Perhaps you join your hands together at your heart, this gesture of union and gratitude as you bow in to the guidance within you. Continuing to cultivate ways that we can steady ourselves with kindness. Remember, the intention behind that is freedom, conscious choice for what we truly desire. So let's close the practice, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.